Good. Okay. So remember, there are delusions and virtues. This is a really precise view in Buddhism. We do not think this way in Buddhist psychology, and we have to identify these very precise conceptual stories in the mind. This is our job as a Buddhist, you know. So love they all start as a thought. They're all concepts. So love is a thought. May you be happy. So of course, as you grow that, it becomes real affection. There's energy behind it. We get that, you know. So when you see others, you see them happy, and the thought is you want them to be happy. Or you see, and they're not happy, and you want them to be happy. Then compassion is you want them not to suffer. So these are so fundamental, you know, wanting others to be happy and wanting others not to suffer. Then the development of these really powerfully lead to this brave attitude of the bodhisattva called great compassion. Not only do I want you not to suffer, but, you know, what could I do to make it happen? That's the essence of, and then that, with all the practice, leads to this amazing shift in the mind. When only others occur to you, you finish the job yourself for yourself, you know. So the start here has to be this equanimity. It's a very precise state of mind. It's the foundation, the basis upon which you can grow valid love, compassion, great compassion, bodhicitta. So, so the thing is, we should ask ourselves, why is it when we see people, when we see people we don't like, who have bad politics or harmful, why is it the thought doesn't naturally arise for us? We've got to ask this. We must ask this. Why does not the thought, may you be happy, naturally arise? Why? Because we have attachment, we have aversion, and we have ignorance. And these absolutely predominate in our minds, even if we're nice people. So as soon as we see a person who is harming others, because our attachment, this is really the point, is not getting what it wants. Our attachment only wants everything to be lovely. Our attachment only wants people to do what I want them to do, which is to be nice, because it suits me. This is really how it is. This is the delusions. So as soon as my attachment doesn't get what it wants, as soon as I see a person harm another, I'll have anger. How dare they do what my attachment doesn't like? Of course, you know, they're harming others, and so we think we are angry with them because we have compassion. No, there's no logic in that. Because we only have compassion for the person they harm. We don't have compassion for that person, and that's the mistake. So we have to do the thinking. We have to be logical. We have to really unpack all these misconceptions in our mind. That's why we have to start at the very beginning. Understand karma and understand the mind. This is fundamental. So when we understand karma, we know why that person is harming, because of the habit of harming from the past. So therefore we know they're suffering. We know they're suffering. It's very clear. And that's why they harm others. So when we know that, at least we have an understanding of why they do it. And then we understand the person they're harming has the karma to be harmed. So then straight away, you know, so then what we have to do is then think, okay, so then I have to step out of all this, get myself out of this. And the first step that will enable me to see all this properly is to recognize this very bare bones fact that visualize in front of you right now as we speak, that to the left in front of you is the object of your attachment, your beloveds, one person, let's say, or your pussycat or something, a being for whom you have attachment. Put them right there in front to the left. And in the middle, you put a person you don't like. Could be a politician, your ex-husband, person at work, person you have aversion for, who irritates you, upsets you, hurts you. We all have them. And the person to the right is a person who's neither harmed you nor helped you. And how do you feel about them? Complete indifference. So attachment for the first one, aversion for the second, and complete indifference for the third. And that's the universe. That's how we all are, because we have attachment. The three poisons, aversion and indifference. And that dominates our viewpoint of others. So because we have no view of karma, you know, we see everything in a mistaken way. So understanding karma for ourselves first, knowing why we do things, and therefore we know why other people do it. Therefore we have compassion. But that comes later. So the starting point, the logic, this is the point now, back with equanimity. The logic of equanimity is that everybody wants to be happy. Whether they're a murderer or a saint, they want to be happy. They're driven by the yearning to be happy. And everybody doesn't want suffering. Everybody is driven by the yearning to be free of suffering. It's got nothing to do with being a good person, a bad person, a monster. It's got nothing to do with that. And we've got to get all that out of the way. And of course, the only way you're going to see that is because you know yourself. Every second, you only want to be happy. And then all you try to do is find it. And every second, you know you don't want to suffer. And you're always trying to be avoiding it. When you know that yourself, it's much easier to see that others are exactly the same. This is the key point. Equanimity is that simple fact. That's what equanimity means here. So get yourself out of it. Get yourself out of the equation. Step back and see these three people. The usual view, like I said, attachment makes the friend look divine. And as long as they keep doing what your attachment wants, then of course you're prepared to want them to be happy. You're prepared to want them not to suffer. So you do have love and compassion, but only for them, because they do what you want. That's the point that's very embarrassing to admit. Our love and compassion right now is contingent upon them doing what my attachment wants. So it's not pure at all. You have to see that. That's the world. Your beloved. Look at them, you know. As long as they do what your attachment wants. That's why you have a fight with your husband, that for that 1 hour you hate him. He's in the enemy category because he's not doing what your attachment wants. Then you calm down and you have attachment again. Look at the enemy, the person, we mightn't call them that, is the object of our aversion. And what by definition that is a person who doesn't do what who actively doesn't do what my attachment wants, who does what my attachment doesn't want. They hurt me. Or they do things to hurt other people, the people that I like, you know. They hurt someone else's cat. So because I'm attached to cats, I have anger towards them. And the stranger, literally, we don't care because we don't even notice the stranger. They don't touch our heart at all because they have simply neither harmed nor helped us. So there's a very superficial projections we put onto the whole world, and everybody does this. Ants, dogs, monkeys, the whole universe is driven by these three misconceptions. Attachment causes the person to look gorgeous. Aversion and indifference, you know. So on the basis of this, we only have love and compassion for the friends. We have aversion for the enemies, and we couldn't care about the strangers. So what we're trying to do on the compassion wing is fundamentally shift that. This is the foundation. And then it's upon this that we can start to love and have compassion for all sentient beings. It's a huge point. So how do you get it? You have to argue with the delusions. Argue with them. That's all. You've got to use clear logical analysis. These meditations, in how to get bodhicitta, you're using clear logical arguments, which sounds surprising to us because we just think these are all kind of gooey feelings, you know. No, delusions are so rooted in our mind. We have to argue with them and use virtue to argue with them because they have no logic. So we know, let's say, the person you did love once, you're in love with, you adored your sister or your mother or your boyfriend, somebody whom you did love once because you were attached to them and they were attached to you, and it was close and you were kind to each other and it was so nice, wasn't it? We remember, we all have that. And then something happened. Something changed, didn't it? They stopped liking us. They blamed us. So then and now we can't stand the sight of them. They're in the enemy category. So when we look at those two pictures, they're completely different. So the fact is they might have harmed us, no argument. But this is not the logical basis. This is the trouble. This is not the logical basis for wanting them to be happy. Because we have to prove to ourselves that when they were loving to us and kind to us, we knew they wanted to be happy and didn't want to suffer. We know that, and we wanted to help them be happy. We wanted to help them not suffer. We were so good to them because we knew they wanted that. But as soon as they start harming us, we forget they still want to be happy. We forget that point. In other words, in them, nothing has changed. This is the point. In them, nothing has changed from the point of view of their only wanting to be happy. And of course, because of that, and then because of some karma, they harmed you. It was because they want to be happy. We have to understand that. Whatever any sentient being does is driven by the yearning to be happy and not suffering. So while we lash out to somebody and harm them, is that we don't want suffering. It mightn't be a pure motivation, that's not the point, but it's a drive in everybody. That's all we're trying to see. It's very fundamental. So that person who once was kind to us and now isn't, from another point of view, those two things are different. But from the fundamental point of view of the drive within them, nothing is different. When they were your beloved, they only wanted to be happy. When they're your enemy, they only want to be happy. This is what we have to prove to ourselves. This is what we have to prove to ourselves. This is logical. It's not emotional. That's what we're trying to get. Equanimity is the recognition of that fact. Because everybody's driven by the three poisons. They're the main motivation for what most of us do. So how do you apply this in daily life? Such a powerful practice. This is not yet wanting them to be happy and wanting them not to suffer. This is very incremental. Each of these is a precise point and a step that leads to the next, to the next. This is the basis for wanting to begin to develop love and compassion. It's the foundation. Because now the logical basis, so-called logical, not logical, for my wanting you to be happy is that as long as you make me happy. It's contingent upon that. It's clear. So we're trying to shift that to being, I want you to be happy. Not because you make me happy, but because I know you want to be happy. That's the shift. That's what we're trying to see. It's a very logical point. It's not emotional. It's hard to get it. But it's got to be based on logic. And a really perfect way to see that is look at yourself. Think of yourself. At some point, one person adored you, saw you as a friend because you fulfilled their attachment. They loved you, they adored you because they were attached to you, and that you fulfilled their attachment by doing what their attachment wanted. Then at some point you changed, isn't it? You stopped being in love with him. You cheated on him. So now how does he see you? You're the worst, ugliest person on the planet. You're now in his enemy category. But look at yourself. While you were in love with him, you only wanted to be happy. And while you went against him and cheated on him, was because you want to be happy. The same reason. So you always want to be happy. That's never shifted. That's the thing. See it in yourself, and you know that others are like that. Because we're so dominated by them doing what we want. We're so dominated by attachment. It's very hard to see this. It doesn't mean because a person, it doesn't mean because a person wants to be happy, it doesn't mean that they're virtuous. It doesn't mean they're doing good things. Not at all. A pedophile thinks jumping on little girls makes him happy because he's deluded. It's the only reason he does it. That's the thing with everybody. We only do what we do because we think it'll make us happy, whether it's steal, lie, kill, torture. Everybody only does what they do because they want to be happy. This is a shocking thing, but this is the point. We think jumping on little girls will make us happy. We think killing will make us happy. We think torturing will make us happy, depending on the karma we have. That's clear. It's obvious. It's easy to prove. So that's what we're trying to see. Everyone wants to be happy. Whether they make themselves happy, that's another discussion. That's not the point here. It's simply the bare bones fact. This is equanimity, the recognition of this fact. And that becomes the reason, the logical reason for us then to grow slowly, step by step, the wish they be happy. The wish they be happy. That's love. And that doesn't mean you then pat them on the head and think, oh, good, go off and have more little girls because I want you to be happy. It doesn't mean that at all. It's got nothing to do with it. Don't confuse it. Because you know they only want to be happy and don't want to suffer, all sentient beings. This becomes the reason for you to start to develop the wisdom to help them know. This is how you help people. Help them learn to know what is the cause of happiness and what is the cause of suffering. Well, the cause of suffering is that they're harming others, and the cause of happiness is they're helping others. But it's nothing to do with whether they're a good person or bad person. Oh, he wants to be happy. Pat him on the head. No. Nothing to do with that. That's why if we think of our enemy, the person who really did harm us, then you say, he wants to be happy. We think, oh, well, you're patting him on the head and saying, go off and keep being mean to me. That's not the point. It's something very fundamental to see this drive in all of us. And this is even why we harm others, because we want to be happy and don't want to suffer. This is something so primordial. So it's the recognition. And then, of course, you begin to have love and compassion for them because you can see how they're harming others. It's so terrible. It's how you practice in day-to-day life. You see something, like your sister or your grandchild who annoys you, irritates you, just something simple. Or somebody, next door neighbor, they annoy you. It's called aversion because they're not doing what your attachment wants. And then you act accordingly. But you stop. You just stop. You think, give it a break, Robina. That's her nature. She's irritated. But what drives her is her wish to be happy. What drives all her stupid behavior is her wish to be happy. And as soon as we can say that to ourselves, you can't help but somehow see her as a human being, not just as an object of aversion. Your heart softens. And then you can practice your love and compassion right there. You can immediately realize that she's annoyed because you're doing something to annoy her, because she wants to be happy, your heart softens. Or like say, I always think, like I say, your divine, say, saintly grandchild whom you adore, and the little irritating little kid next door who picks his nose and is rude. You have aversion for him and complete attachment for your little beloved. It's obvious. But then step back. One, yes, he might be mean. And one, yes, your kid might be gorgeous. That's not the discussion here. It's not the point here. You've got to go beyond that and see that they're absolutely equal in their wish to be happy. They are equal. That's what equanimity is. They're equal in their wish to be happy. They're equal. That's what equanimity is. That they're equal from one point of view. That's it. One point of view. They want to be happy and don't want to suffer. That's equanimity. Not some emotional feeling. It comes slowly from using logic to argue with your delusions. It's not easy, but it's profound. And this is the start, the beginning, the basis, the foundation upon which you can properly grow love, compassion, great compassion, bodhicitta. And eventually, as we get stronger and stronger at this, more and more convinced, more and more loving, more and more compassionate. You're not stupid. You can still see the pedophile and the kind person. You don't, because you've got love and compassion for both, doesn't mean you don't see that one is deluded and one is not. That's silly. Of course, you see the deluded ones. In fact, you have more love and more compassion for the deluded ones, because they are causing, and this is the logic too. This love and compassion is based on karma, understanding karma. They say the bodhisattvas have such compassion for all of us, not even because we haven't realized emptiness, not because we're suffering by someone punching us in the nose, but because we don't understand cause and effect. We don't understand that we cause ourselves our own suffering. So that as a basis, then the bodhisattva would have more compassion for the pedophile than the child. I mean, they have compassion for both, but this is shocking to us. And this is because, first, because of having equanimity, and then because of understanding karma, that the pedophile, every second, out of their incredible delusion, is causing themselves so much future suffering. And it's the future suffering that they can see, not just the suffering now. Because they're doing actions that are harming others, that will cause them to suffer unbearably in the lower realms in future lives. And that compassion is based on this fundamental equanimity. So it's a very logical thing. These meditations are not, emotional, kind of gooey feelings. We think of love and compassion like that. We think of equanimity like that, very kind of superficial. It's very logical. Everybody, whether they harm you or help you or do neither, they are equal to each other in their wish to be happy and their wish not to suffer. We just to practice just that, seeing people more clearly, is already profound in the day, And then you grow upon that. We start to grow. May you be happy. May you not suffer. And then we have the key one is the bodhisattva's one of I will make it happen. That's where you start to act. I will make it happen. What can I do to take away the pain? What can I do to make them happy? That's action. So we finished with the four, what do you call them? What do you call them? I do it all the time. I forget. I'm getting old. What's the name? Huh? Immeasurables, thank you, the four immeasurables. Okay. So just think, okay? Think. This is now a bit different. It's wanting others to have these things. Now we want others to have it. We're not discussing ourselves having it. So the measurables are wanting others to have it. So think, may all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of attachment, aversion, and indifference. May they abide so. Now the bodhisattva attitude. I will make this happen. This brave attitude. Please, Lord Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. May all sentient beings be free of suffering and its causes. May they be free. I will make this happen. Please, Lord Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. And Lama Zopa says we should also think their happiness or enlightenment. May they have them. I will make this happen. Please, Lord Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. How wonderful it will be if all sentient beings were never parted from higher rebirths and liberation's excellent bliss. May they never be parted. I will make this happen. Please, Lord Buddha, bless me to be able to do this. So that's it, people. But understand clearly what equanimity is, the recognition that the person who is kind to me, the person who is mean to me, the person who does neither are exactly the same as each other. From the point of view of their wanting to be happy and not wanting suffering. It's the foundation, the start, the first step, and then actually doing that, wanting them to be happy and wanting them not to suffer, which is love and compassion. Okay, sweet people, thank you so much. Jang Sub Sem Tog Rinpoche, Ma Ke Panam Ke Guchi Ke Panyam Pa Me Pa Yang, Gong Ne Gong Du Pa Wa Shog. And that's it, and keep moving in whatever part of the day you are. Watch your body, watch your speech, and watch your mind. Keep growing, keep moving, one step at a time. Never giving up. Thank you so much.